channel. I am back with this week's Teen Mom Recap. But before I get started, I just want to thank you for 10,000 subscribers! And I was so happy when I saw that. I even got a little notification. I've been doing this for 6.5 years. I started in January 2018. I didn't even show my face at first. I would just do like little audio clips with Teen Mom screenshots in the background. And fun fact, the only reason I started showing my face was because I was trying to get the channel monetized and they wouldn't do it for a very long time. And then once I started showing my face, then they approved it. And it's like, y'all just wanted to see what I look like. Hope they weren't disappointed. Anyway, I'm so thankful for all your support. I love talking to you guys. I love making these videos. And I'm going to continue to do it for as long as this show lasts. I'm going to go buy myself a cake and put 10,000 subscribers on it. I'm so happy. I've been working for this for a long time. So thank you so much, guys. And please continue to support me. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And let's get started with this season finale. So we begin with Amber. So my brother, Bubby, was getting married in North Carolina. Gary came with me and he met my family for the first time. Everything seemed so perfect. And then he just left. And they show social media comments saying, "She killed him." I am not what people have been saying about me. I didn't hurt him. Gary has a missing persons report filled out for him. Macy learns what happens and says, "Amber shouldn't be by herself through this. She can't be more than 2.5 hours away from me. I'm gonna go visit her." "Hold down the fort, Taylor." Okay. So Macy arrives, and they don't film inside Amber's rental, but we do hear Amber saying, "He took his keys and wallet, but not his phone. I keep thinking he'll show up. That's why I won't leave." Next is Janelle. She says, "Today's the last day before we go to Vegas. I'm crying, but it's happy tears. Kaiser's dad is in Vegas, so I set up a date for them to meet. I can't film with Ensley right now due to David not signing off, but I think I'm going to get full custody in court, and then I can film her." Janelle sits with Jace. "Thanks for the help moving. How do you feel?" "I feel safer without David. Sorry it didn't happen sooner. He's gone now. I'm fine." "I remember you saying, I just want this to stop. CPS has been in my life since I was little. I'm sick of them coming in and out. I know me and May would argue about you a lot when you were younger. I just wanted everything to calm down. Do you feel anger towards me?" And Jace nods, and he says, "At the time I did, but now we're out of the drama. I made tons of mistakes, but my intentions were never bad. You were robbed from me as a baby, and I don't think it was fair. Come here, give me a hug." So, wow. I have mixed feelings on that scene. So on one hand, I thought it was actually very sweet that Jace seems like he forgives her and that things have finally calmed down a little bit. But on the other, it was kind of like a monotone non-apology from Janelle. Did she ever actually say, "I'm sorry"? And she didn't really admit her faults. She's like, "Oh, Jace was robbed from me. It wasn't right." And again, that's not what happened. But I guess this is the best we can hope for from Janelle. So tiny claps, tiny claps. Next is Ashley. She says, "I signed divorce papers, but since Bar and I got married in California, he has to file them. But I'm not waiting to get on with my life. My mom is watching Holly while I hang out with my good friend Orlando." And Shady MTV lists him as Orlando, Ashley's friend in quotation marks. And she's making out with her good friend and posts him on social media with his face covered. She says, 2 seconds after I posted that, Bar called me. I hung up. He texted me, "Is that your new guy? I'm coming to Nevada." "Well, tonight I'm going to my friend's house anyway, so I won't be home." And she laughs about it. Little did she know that no one's got more time than an unemployed dude to do some crazy shit. So Ashley comes home from her friend's house the next day, and Bar is inside her house sitting on the couch. Terrifying. She walks in and says, "What the fuck are you doing here?" But that was a reenacted scene, by the way. MTV cameras were not actually there when she came home. In real life, it had been nighttime, and Ashley's mom had been on the phone with her when she got home. When Ashley's mom hears Bar on the other side of the phone, she called 911.
Got home, her estranged cousin was sitting in her house and the phone disconnected. There's a restraining order. He's not even supposed to be in this space.
Hold on. What's the apartment number?
I don't know her apartment number, but we're sitting right here in front of the door. I don't know. I can't get into security. I can't get into the gate. But he is inside of her house. When she walked in the door, he was sitting inside of her house. He's not even supposed to be in this state.
Interestingly, MTV cut off the part of the call where she's like, "Ashley is a celebrity. We do television. We're on MTV."
And you said he
And
shot
she-
at her
and-
apartment
and-
before?
And I'm being told to tell you that she is a celebrity. We do television. We are on TV. We work for MTV. We work for MTV. Please, we are celebrities. Please.
Okay.
Which I can't judge too hard, because I think you'll say anything to the police trying to get them to go faster when your child is in danger, but it's still pretty funny. Like, you know, those cops don't give a shit? It's giving, like, Justin Timberlake's DUI. This is gonna ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour. Mackenzie's family comes into town to pick up the kids to spend the summer with them in Oklahoma. Casanio calls her dad and says, I want to propose to Mackenzie at the beach. How do I get her there with everyone? Well, her sister Whitney is a photographer. Let's pretend that we're all going to do a photo shoot at the beach. So everyone arrives, and Mackenzie and all her family and her best friend head to the beach for a girls' day photo shoot. Nova is asking Caitlin about visiting Carly. Kate says, I'm going to text Teresa asking about a visit this year. My heart hurts, because my girls really want to see her. We thought that visits were going to be yearly, but actually they're at Brandon and Teresa's discretion. Teresa texted back saying, we're thinking that we're not going to be able to do a visit this year. And Tyler says, got it, sarcastically. It sucks to be at their mercy, their control. I just want to see my kids together. Adoption equals trauma. It's going to be tough, telling Nova. And they show Kate posting an Instagram text rant about how mad she is at Brandon and Teresa. And of course they get backlash comments. And I know that this is actually blown up again in like the last week very recently with the Caitlin and Tyler, Brandon and Teresa adoption drama. And I do want to talk about it, but I feel like that's a whole other video on its own. Maybe next week I'll do a video on it, because I actually have like very mixed feelings on it. I don't side with either Brandon and Teresa or Caitlin and Tyler. I think they both have very big issues and neither of them are right in this situation. But I know that the season ends this week, so maybe next week I'll do a video on that. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me. Ashley explains what happened to her mom. She says, when I first got in my house, Bar was sitting on the couch and he was pissed. We went back and forth arguing, and then I hear a knock at my door. It was the cops. They said, answer or we'll kick the door in. Bar grabs my bar stools and puts them in front of the door. I'm scared to open the door, but eventually I tell Bar that I'll open it and I'll reason with the cops. Bar moved the stools and I was able to open the door. The police walked him out and now he's in jail. It was very scary. Her mom says, I hope they keep him in jail forever. I don't care if he even sees Holly ever again. That sounds extreme. No, what he did was extreme. You're desensitized and Holly is picking up the vibe. I didn't know if I was ever going to see you again. I'm not going to cry over him anymore. It's not worth it. And Ashley is very, blasé and unemotional about it. But that is a common response to trauma, is to just go numb. I also suspect that Bar has been threatening and violent for a really long time, so it's almost like this behavior is normalized to her. It's nothing new. Gary number 2 was found in New Mexico, and the missing persons case was closed. Amber has not heard from him. Macy calls Caitlin and tells her the state that Amber is in, it's beyond. It's bad. I feel terrible for her. We called the police, and he said to go home and get some rest. She's not in the headspace to drive, though. So I'm going to drive Amber to Tennessee, and then MTV will drive her the rest of the way. So Amber gets in the car with Macy, totally defeated and crying. So many days, I didn't know if he was alive. I feel so much better now knowing. After Macy gets home, Larry actually gets in the car to drive Amber the rest of the way. And at first I'm like, this is so unprofessional. Did they not have a driver that they could pay? But then I realized that it was a total strategic move so that he could talk to Amber and get some tea out of her. So Larry asks Amber, what happened? Well, I guess Gary's dad, read my Wikipedia. And his dad saw that she had a whole heading titled Legal Issues that's 8 paragraphs long. And was like, hell nah, son, go save yourself right now. And MTV highlights the worst parts of it too. And then Amber's kind of mumbling, but here's the gist of what she said. I think he was holding it in that he had heard from his family and not telling me. I was saying, I can't do this if your family doesn't accept me. And maybe Gary took that as me breaking up with him. It seemed like he was upset and hopeless. Amber's manager calls and tells her that Gary's been located. That makes me feel great. But every time Amber is like, oh wow, I feel so much better, that makes me feel great, she doesn't seem like she actually feels any different. I think she's just saying that to make it look like she cares. Her manager says, I know how bad you want to talk to him. I'll try to find out more information. Thanks. Has he messaged you at all? No. Red flag. And I really wish that we heard Gary's side here, because I'm almost certain that Amber did not breach the issue calmly. She was probably more like, oh, your dad doesn't like me? Fuck you and fuck him too! Better get out of here before I get the machete! Next we head over to Gary number 1's place for some shit talking. Christina says, you know Leah's friends asked her if she thought that her mom would off him? But she just laughed and said no. Gary says, I feel a little bit of compassion. Amber's not even been eating. Like, I don't have compassion for you not seeing your child, though. Christina says, men come and go. Friends come and go. But your children will always stay. And I wish she saw that. Which is a really great quote. I actually really like that. Speaking of people who don't understand that, Janelle is next. She tells Kaiser, me and you are gonna see your dad. Yay! He's in Las Vegas for rehab. I'm okay with him seeing you as long as it's supervised. So they park and wait for Nathan. But an hour later, she gets a message. He said he thought he would be able to come, but he couldn't get permission. Aww. It's so hard to see my kids disappointed. And then it's pretty heartbreaking. Kaiser starts crying. He's like, I haven't seen my dad in 2 years. I really wanted to see him. And I kind of suspected that this would happen just because Nathan is so unreliable, and it's hard to get, like, visits when you're in rehab. Depending on where you are, of course, but when you're there due to, like, legal issues, like it's either you go to rehab or jail and you chose rehab, they're usually pretty strict about, like, visitation. But I don't have any sympathy because it's like, don't even tell Janelle that you can do it and disappoint your son then. Just say, hey, I can't leave. Don't lead your child on after 2 years of not seeing him. Pathetic. Caitlin kind of regrets making her Instagram post, even though she posted like 10 in the last week. She says, I made that post out of anger, but you know what? I don't care what people on the internet have to say about me. They're not here with my kids asking me questions. Tyler says, my job is not to protect Brandon and Teresa. Teresa is not responding whatsoever. Tyler posts in support of Caitlin, and they tell Nova the news that she's not going to be able to see Carly when Nova asks about it. Nova asks, why did they say no? I don't know. Do we deserve that? We deserve a reason. Next is Ashley. She talks to a lawyer. Is there a protective order for you and your daughter in place? Yes, I already have that. Well, if Barr's in jail for a long time, you can ask for sole legal custody of Holly. California is a no-fault state, so he's going to get the divorce whether he wants it or not. Ashley is happy to be free, and she says, my next chapter is just me. It's been 12 days, and Amber has not heard from Gary. She decides to see her child psychiatrist, so MTV calls an Uber to take her over there. The driver asks, how are you? How am I? Well, I had to deal with thinking that my fiancé was dead for 3 days, literally grieving and trying to make sense of it. It's a trauma response. And then Amber goes completely unhinged, babbling on and on for so long that MTV does like these cuts of her talking and she just goes on and on and on. Somebody needs to set up a GoFundMe for that poor Uber driver who deserved none of this. Like, I'm surprised he didn't open up the door and just tell her, like, get out. Okay, you have arrived. But just when this Uber driver thinks it's finally over, Amber says, I don't even want to get out. I'm not getting out. And you know this dude is just like... The MTV producer has to open the car door and, like, gently drag her out. And she's just wailing. She's like, this man, he broke me right now. I was stable. This is the first time in years that I have not been right. You broke me the day that man left for no reason. And yeah, there was no reason. He ruined something so good. I am so fucked. Why am I getting persecuted? People are calling me a murderer. Could someone please, like, 5150 this bitch? Britney Spears didn't deserve it, but Amber does. Now, Amber does have borderline personality disorder, and the worst fear when you have BPD is abandonment. That's a big thing. And that's, you know, exactly what Gary did. Even though it was totally justified, I mean, he did abandon her with zero explanation, which is the worst thing for someone with BPD. So that's why we're seeing this very extreme reaction. The next scene is a complete 180 from the chaos, and the tone of the show completely changes. It's Mackenzie. So she arrives on the beach and she sees the setup that Casanio did for her. It's very beautiful and well thought out. And she's just so surprised and she's happy. She bursts out into happy tears and she runs up to him. He says, I don't know what you did, but you make me extremely happy every day. Will you marry me? Yes, I finally found a true love. And once again, the happy scene ends and we go straight back into Amber mayhem. Amber walks into the psychiatrist's office and announces, I'm having an episode. I need help. Andrew and Matt didn't break me, but this man did. This is not right. This is heartbreak right here. And the psychiatrist says, well, it's definitely a loss. And how much loss have I had in my life? And the episode ends there. And that is all for this season finale of Teen Mom the Next Chapter. What do we think of Amber's reaction to Gary leaving? Do we think his family told him to get out of there? What do we think of Barr breaking into Ashley's house and sitting there like a psychopath? What do we think of Casanio's proposal to Mackenzie? Make sure to leave a comment down below and make sure to subscribe for more Teen Mom recaps every week.